Jones rarely wastes keystrokes. When he types, the sport pivots. Is Bones mocking the interim chatter? Soft launching a summer return? Or quietly signaling that he already has a contract in hand and all that's left is to let the hype ferment? The mystery electrifies timelines because it promises something the division hasn't delivered in years. An era-defining clash between the most credentialed champion alive and the fastest rising heavyweight technician the UK has ever produced. But that emoji is merely the spark. Tonight, we dive beneath every headline orbiting UFC 316, from Nate Diaz roasting Bo Nickal to Merab's stubbornly fine toe. And you'll want to catch each twist, because every subplot bleeds into the next, and the endgame could reorder the entire 2025 fight calendar.
I just don't even want to do business with him. You know, at the end of the day, this is a business, and fighting me gives him an opportunity to change his life forever. And I don't even want to give him the opportunity. Like, he just played his cards wrong with me personally. And you know,
Merab Dvalishvili isn't just shrugging off a mangled toe. He's weaponizing the skepticism it created. When photos of that swollen digit leaked in March, critics labeled him reckless for refusing surgery, a liability for trying to wrestle with 9 healthy toes and 1 balloon. Merab countered by tripling his aqua therapy sessions, logging 5 a.m. hill sprints outside Tbilisi during a brief trip home, and posting heart rate screenshots that read like an endurance lab's fever dream. He jokes that he'd cut the thing off if necessary. But the subtext is more calculated. He wants O'Malley picturing a vulnerable target, then panicking when that target refuses to limp. Back in their first fight, Merab's relentless chain wrestling smothered Sean's rhythm. Yet critics claim the Georgian played it safe. This time he promises a showcase. More pocket boxing, sharper level changes set up by jab-low kick doubles he's been drilling with former Olympic wrestlers in Long Island. In interviews, he repeats, fans deserve a fight, not just a win, turning the toe narrative on its head and daring O'Malley to stand in the fire. Alexander Volkanovski's cameo at Adesanya's city kickboxing camp might look like two champs trading autographs, but insiders know Volk arrived with a lab notebook of deception beats, micro-feints, and rugby-inspired sidesteps designed to break cadence and carve new angles. During one hush-hush spar, Volk demonstrated a short step sell. He shows the lead shoulder as if loading a cross, delays half a heartbeat, then slides 30 centimeters outside the opponent's stance before detonating a calf kick into hook combo. The move forces an overturn from taller strikers, perfectly tailored for Adesanya's length. A 7-second clip leaked to Discord channels before coaches yanked phones from pockets, yet even that tiny snapshot triggered a wave of GIF dissections. Analysts speculate whether Volk is sharpening tools for another lightweight foray, perhaps a backup slot for UFC 317, while Izzy might rebrand it as the linchpin of a middleweight reclamation campaign. The moment illustrates 2025's meta, super camps cross-pollinating secrets, champions behaving like open-source coders, and the edges getting sharper by the day. Chael Sonnen, ever the narrative puppeteer, stirred chaos with one word: coward. Then offered a lawyer's clarification tour. He swears he was miscued, not misquoted, insisting the cowardice label referred to optics, not character. His logic: if Islam Makhachev notified the UFC of a welterweight title pursuit before accepting Ilia Topuria, history could view it as a dodge rather than a daring double champ bid. The nuance was lost in headlines, leaving Sonnen to rebuild the bridge, brick by brick on Anthony Smith's podcast. He still doubts a hypothetical 170-pound champion slices back to 155, cutting a limb to regrow it, he calls it, but he also praises Islam's fight IQ and championship grit. In typical Chael fashion, the apology clarifies nothing and amplifies everything. Fans argue timelines on Reddit. Lightweight contenders issue "stay in your lane" tweets, and Topuria's camp leverages the fuss to demand pay-per-view points. Sonnen's slip shows how a single descriptor can warp legacies, a cautionary tale etched in real time.
Jon Jones wants 6 months. He wants 6 months to prepare for Aspinall. He wants 6 months. He can have him. How would I control it? How would anybody control it? Jon has the undisputed belt and Tom has the interim belt. We all...
Joe Rogan's Octagon side gospel carries a gravitational pull on fan opinion, and his latest sermon aims squarely at the cardio gap that could swallow Sean O'Malley. On his podcast, Rogan marvels that Merab spent the morning after winning gold pounding pavement while most champions toast mimosas. He applauds O'Malley's newfound monk mode, off social media, off weed, hip finally rehabbed, but wonders aloud how a rangy striker maintains distance when the other guy wrestles like the mat is on fire. Rogan recounts Nurmagomedov's failed attempts to cool Merab, painting the Georgian as a hybrid of Colossus and Forrest Gump, never tiring, always advancing. Rogan's voice shapes betting lines. After the episode, sportsbooks shaved O'Malley's odds and Twitter filled with gifs of Merab chain-shooting double legs. Yet Rogan's praise hides a question. Can O'Malley's surgical precision carve damage quickly enough to force a stand-up duel? Or does Merab's pressure erase geometry, turning art into trench warfare?
It's funny, people are saying, you just have a bunch of yes men around you. I'm like, if you watch round 1, 3, and 5 closely, no commentating, the number one criteria as a judge is to judge for damage. Motherfucker got a bloody nose and got his head snapped back in round 1. Is that not damage compared to getting...
Khalil Roundtree embodies that question of geometry versus will. Still haunted by feeling dwarfed against Alex Pereira, he's reversed a career-long obsession with staying small and fast. At Syndicate MMA, he added sandbag carries, tire flips, and altitude mask pad rounds with heavy weights to simulate Jamahal Hill's frame. He pinned sparring partners to the fence, forcing himself to eat body shots before reversing the clinch, conditioning his ribcage as much as his mindset. Roundtree frames the Hill fight as a referendum on self-belief. Lose, and he's the perpetual gatekeeper. Win, and he rewrites a journey that started in Muay Thai camps to escape LA gang life. He speaks softly about earning gravity, a poetic nod to grounding flashy techniques in raw mass. It's no coincidence he announced his newly bulked physique the same week Rogan questioned O'Malley's physicality. Both storylines probe how size intersects with style when titles hang in the balance. Merab's decision to push the rematch to June in New Jersey was chess, not checkers. The extra 2 months let O'Malley rehab his reconstructed hip, erasing excuses and amplifying stakes. It also situates the fight in a region where Georgian flags drape balconies and subway seats alike. Merab recalls training at Serra-Longo as a broke immigrant, 10-hour dishwashing shifts, then midnight wrestling practice, so returning to the tri-state feels like a hero's loop. Yet familiarity breeds complacency, and Merab combats that by simulating enemy territory. He pipes crowd chants into sparring rounds, forcing himself to stay calm when cheers morph into static. He studied O'Malley's shoulder roll counters, anticipating that Sean will pivot to sniping calf kicks and straight lefts instead of flashy spins. Merab's countermeasure, a leaping right hook he lands while switching stances, designed to crash distance the moment O'Malley's weight tilts to the back foot. I want him uncomfortable from second one, he says, because if he thinks, he hesitates. If he hesitates, I'm on his hips.
Last press conference, we had a little laugh about jacuzzis. You got to share a jacuzzi with Sean O'Malley. Tell me what that was like.
I have a good time in jacuzzi with Sean O'Malley.
Across the river in Weehawken, Ray Longo hunches over Duplessis Chimaev, filmed like a codebreaker hunting repeating ciphers. Longo's thesis is simple: survive storms, steal engines. He predicts Khamzat will unleash a 5-minute hurricane, blast doubles, cage maul, short elbows, then confront an oxygen debt his previous 3-rounders masked. To prepare Dreykus, Longo imported rugby forwards to mimic Chimaev's brute drive, instructing the champ to dig underhooks, pummel wrists, whisper trash talk about Chechen bravado, and make each clinch feel like quicksand. Between rounds, they blare crowd noise, then cut it to silence, teaching Dreykus to modulate adrenaline. Longo concedes their margin is razor thin. One clean Khamzat uppercut could detonate everything, but insists discipline plus bodywork will make rounds 4 and 5 Duplessis country. This blueprint spreads like wildfire. Middleweight hopefuls copy-paste the drill sets, while Khamzat's camp reportedly doubles swimming intervals to armor lungs. Strategy leaks become strategy fuel, and the cycle spins.
Bo Nickal said he wanted this fight. He was hoping they would call him. He said your wrestling is trash and his American wrestling would beat yours. Is that a fight you think will happen one day between you and Bo?
Man, the guy's big bullshit, this guy, man. I don't know what he's saying. He's not wrestling for the points, man. Here, we don't play wrestling.
Nate Diaz, meanwhile, refuses to spin. He detonates. On the HJR podcast, he dismantles the concept of newcomer clout in a single breath, lumping Justin Gaethje's barbs and Bo Nickal's first-round KO prediction into the same trash heap. Diaz isn't campaigning for a ranking. He's defending Stockton's code, where respect is earned through scars, not press snippets. He recounts Gaethje's 2016 tweets calling him washed, scoffs that Bo Nickal ain't punched nobody conscious yet, and warns both that accidental run-ins might become impromptu weigh-ins. fans. The rant resonates because Diaz is MMA's folk hero, flawed, unpredictable, unfiltered, and every generation tests whether the myth still bites. Social feeds explode with side-by-side age graphs, highlight reels of Diaz slapping prime wrestlers, and polls asking who survives a triathlon of punches and profanity. Diaz's volatility injects color into a card heavy with title implications, a reminder that narrative gold sometimes comes from unscripted fire. Which brings us back to Tom Aspinall's midnight trolling session, because his playful interim of the interim BMF quip does more than harvest likes. It reframes the heavyweight hierarchy. Until now, pundits argued that Jones would skip straight to Stipe Miocic or retire on a legacy plateau. Aspinall's tease, Jones's emoji, and ESPN's instant amplification create a new gravitational pull. Fans chant for unification, sponsors salivate at London or Las Vegas supercards, and sidelined contenders like Cyril Gain craft callouts aimed at whoever loses negotiations. Aspinall understands brand warfare. He follows the Connor playbook of half-jokes that become half-truths. By claiming the interim BMF mantle, he both mocks belt inflation and pre-labels himself the Action King, a direct contrast to Jones's methodical dominance. The stakes spiral. If Jones ignores the bait, skeptics will dub him risk-averse. If he bites, the UFC can market genius versus new school chaos, all from one emoji.
Jon Jones is probably watching this, so send him a message.
Hello, Jon. I have nothing against you personally, but I just think I'm better than you. I just know that I can beat you in a fight. So I'm coming for it.
Viewers, every thread we just traced loops into the same core tension. Who controls the narrative in modern MMA? The athletes, the analysts, or the attention economy itself? Merab's self-inflicted adversity, Volk's cross-camp footwork experiments, Sonnen's linguistic landmines, Rogan's betting line sermons, Roundtree's mass over flash crusade, Longo's attrition blueprint, Diaz's legacy policing, and that single Jones emoji all orbit each other in an ecosystem where perception alters paychecks and emojis ignite million-dollar contract talks. The minute one variable shifts, a toe flares up, a podcast clip misquotes, a heavyweight tease hardens into a signed bout, the entire lattice reshapes. So keep watching, keep questioning, and keep imagining the matchups the brass hasn't announced, because in 2025, one emoji can rewrite history before the Octagon doors even lock.